Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to teach you how to make pumpkin pie, but not just any pumpkin pie. This one is a keto-friendly pumpkin pie, so we're going to substitute quite a few ingredients that are in the crust for things that are more keto-friendly. I'm not necessarily on a keto diet, I'm just on a low-carb, low-calorie diet, but this recipe fits right in line with the keto type plan. So the first thing I did was preheat my oven to 350 degrees, and next I'm going to assemble the pie crust for you so you can see how we do that, and then I'll show you the rest of the video. Okay, these are our ingredients. So we have almond flour, coconut flour, a monk fruit. This is a brown sugar substitute I'm going to use today. It's that erythritol sweetener. Make my own vanilla, so we're going to do some vanilla, heavy whipping cream, pumpkin, baking powder, ginger, cinnamon, salt, nutmeg, cloves, butter, and eggs. Okay, we're going to start with our crust. So the first thing I'm going to do is combine 1.5 cups of almond flour, 3 tablespoons of coconut flour, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder, 4 tablespoons of melted butter, and 1 beaten egg. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is add our almond flour with our coconut flour. And I'm going to stir these together real quick. Some people like to sift them together to make sure they're fully incorporated, but I find it's a little easier to go ahead and blend up the dry ingredients and mix them well together before you add the wet. So that way you don't have just one big pocket of coconut flour sitting on one side of the dough, and they're all well incorporated. All right. So there are the 2 flour mixtures. Next I'm going to add the salt and the baking. These were 1/4 teaspoon each. So I'm going to sprinkle those in. Again, I'm going to give those a stir. And again, you can sift those together if you want to make sure that they are well incorporated and you don't have a big piece of baking powder on one side. I'm going to give those a good stir, mix those all together. The almond flour and the coconut flour, they're both considered tree nuts, so if you do have a tree nut allergy, you won't be able to use these flours. You would use a traditional flour method. But it has more carbs, and I've been watching my carbs lately, so I am using the almond flour and the coconut flour as my substitutes. There are other substitutes you can use as well. There's rice flour, all types of gluten-free flours, so feel free to explore the different flour options and find one that's right for you. Okay, so now my dry ingredients are combined. I'm going to go ahead and add my beaten egg. So I have 1 beaten egg. It's almost room temperature. And then 4 tablespoons of melted butter. And I use salted butter, even though I use salt in my recipe. You might want to use unsalted butter, but in this case, I think the salt gives it a good flavor. And I just love salted butter, so I use it in most of my recipes when it comes to baked goods. All right, so this is going to form a ball, somewhat of a ball, and you can see it looks kind of like any other dough would look at this point. We're going to go ahead and press it into a pie plate that I've sprayed with olive oil. Okay, so here's my pie plate. My ball of dough. I'm just going to lightly press this into the bottom of the pan. Try to even it out and bring it up the sides a little bit. It's going to hold my pumpkin pie mixture, so I want it to have a little bit of crust on the sides. It doesn't have to have quite the fluted edge crust because it is a thinner crust, but I do want it to come up the sides just a little bit. So I'm just going to press that into place. Try to even out the bottom without making too many holes. All right. And then we're going to bake this for 10 minutes. Okay, so while our crust is cooking, I'm gonna take 3 beaten eggs and a can or 15 ounces of pureed pumpkin. So I'm gonna add this entire can. If you have a larger can, you can always double the recipe. Make a larger pie or 2 pies or a sheet pan. And I'm gonna add my vanilla. So I make my own vanilla. I do it with either bourbon or vodka, depending on which flavor I like. For baking, I like to do the bourbon-based vanilla. And then after about 8 months of curing, it's ready to use. So here's our pumpkin and our eggs. I'm gonna go ahead and add our cup of heavy cream. And give that a little bit of a stir. And then we'll add all of our sugar and spices. I love having pumpkin pie, but usually by the time I've eaten a whole lot of food, I'm really trying to cut back and not eat as many desserts. So this is a great alternative if you still want to eat your dessert and count your carbs. And you can have your low-carb pumpkin dessert, pumpkin pie. All right, so this is mixed up. I'm gonna go ahead and add my sugar substitute. This is about a 1/2 cup of the monk fruit sweetener. And I found that the monk fruit sweeteners or the more sugar tasting type sweeteners, I like them a lot. They blend well, they act like sugar, and they taste good. All right, so there's our sugar, and now I'm gonna add all of our spices. So we've got cinnamon, nutmeg, cloves, salt, and ginger. So I usually add a little bit more cinnamon than the rest, so maybe a teaspoon of cinnamon and about a 1/4 teaspoon to a 1/2 teaspoon of the others. I don't want those to be too strong, especially the ginger. I usually don't add as much ginger or it starts tasting a little too strong for me. But I like the cinnamon. All right, so once you have all of your liquid ingredients combined well, you can then take your crust. This one baked for almost 12 minutes. I wanted it to get a little more brown than the 10 minutes, so I put it back on for a couple minutes. So almost 12 minutes. It is getting cool to the touch, and it is a little flakier than a normal crust. So it's not gonna hold together its shape as well, but it is gonna provide a nice base for our pumpkin pie. And so I am now just gonna pour our ingredients in the pie. It smells really good already. Just that pumpkin smell with all the spices in it. Okay, so this is gonna go in the oven at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for about 45 to 50 minutes. Then I'm gonna turn the oven off and leave the door cracked just a little bit and let it come to a complete coolness for another hour inside the oven. All right, our pumpkin pie smells really yummy. It cooked for about 45 to 50 minutes, and then I left it in our oven for an hour to cool down. I was hoping that would prevent some of the cracks by letting it cool by itself, but it did go ahead and crack a little bit. All right, so there's the inside of our cooked pumpkin pie. It looks amazing. Let's go ahead and taste it. Hey guys, let's give this a taste. Very creamy, just the right amount of spices, the cinnamon, the nutmeg, the ginger, the cloves. A+ for sure. Hey guys, thanks for watching today's video. If you'd like to see more recipes like this, please comment down below, give us a like, and subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you next time. Thanks, bye-bye.